Good. Happy to see you all here, and happy to know a bit more about you. If you can also share what kind of things you've been busy with for last couple of years, that would be awesome for us to understand what kind of makes you work. So I'll introduce what I've been doing for the last 5 years. I come from a very technical software engineering background. So before I joined Portainer, I've been doing software engineering. I've been doing the distributed systems, I think Cube and Cube related kind of technologies for the last 5 years. And before Cube, there were some like Azure Service Fabric, the Docker Swarm, whereas distros of OpenShift, etc. And now I'm still onto that Cube journey, and I still think that this will be the mainstream tool for next few years at least, even though the industry is just going crazy now. And I do developer advocacy at Portainer, which means I'm taking care of these kind of shows, webinars. I'm doing the communication with the community, and I really love doing that. So if you have anything for me, feel free to reach out to me either on Twitter or on my email, Dimko at portainer.io. I'll be sharing that email shortly in the chat. And let's put some password there. Alrighty. So now
a lifesaver.
Yeah, indeed, love it. So and now this is exactly 2.10, which is quite nice. So let's get back to what we were at before. So what we have here is the applications and that redesigned view. So here, notice that we have the create from manifest button. I'll make it a bigger. Probably should be cool now. And it has some namespaces, but let's create our own namespace. Just demo. Cool. And let's create a namespace. And let's go back to the applications and create from the manifest. Picking up our namespace, and let's just set the application name Dimko demo test busy box. So everything that we've seen here, Kubernetes manifest, repo URL, let's just use this one. We don't need any reference. Our compose path would be busybox, the famous one. We'll turn off the authentication, and the main bit here is automatic updates. So let's see what we have here. What it says is that any changes made to this stack in Portainer will be overridden by an updated Git definition. And by that, what it means is as we update in our Git repo, the changes from there will get replicated into our Kubernetes cluster and therefore will be displayed in Portainer. That comes quite handy when you're doing any kind of collaborational work and you want to leave all of that routine of deploying the applications to the tool. So we'll set fetch interval 1 minute, which would enable us to do the actual demo here. Let's hit that deploy button. And what we want to see here now is that application of busybox got deployed into the corresponding namespace. We are able to get into that. And let's see, what do I have now in Git repo is busybox stable. And what I have here is also a BusyBox stable. We can get into that same way we did before. Echo Portainer is up. Cool. Let's just get back here and see what we have as BusyBox stable. What I want to do now is quite of a common any kind of team production use case. Your pull request gets merged, whatever happens, but the state in the master branch changes. So let's say we are doing more experimental stuff and decided to change from stable to latest. Let's commit these changes and wait for it to appear in Portainer. So now it shows latest in GitHub. And what we have here is still stable. Meanwhile, while it's doing its job, let's see what we have here. It says that it was created from Git repo, and it has all of the typical information which is displayed on the Portainer access in the application, auto scaling. So nothing of that has been configured on that simple BusyBox. And what we also have is added the application button, which is quite new. And it actually has all of that details of our GitOps integration that we've configured while we deployed that thing. So it has the automatic updates, it has the fetch interval, same as we specified 1 minute, and it has extra button pull and update application. So meanwhile, let's just, for now, let's just keep it as it is and see when it gets synchronized from our Git repo. And I see it here. So what it says, it's BusyBox latest. So that's a very simple way of displaying what actually that feature is about. So you have the your YAML manifest, Kubernetes manifest in the Git repo. You're collaborating on that with your team, with your friends, and every change that you do in the Git repo gets replicated into your Kubernetes cluster. And you don't need to do anything about that. Just do the initial setup, and that GitOps integration will do that all for you. And it works not only with GitHub, you can use any Git provider you might think of, I don't know, like Azure DevOps, GitLab, Atlassian, whatever you have. It will still work as long as it's Git based. Let's do the next bit. Oops. Same we can do with the Docker Compose. So I have somewhere here the Docker Compose YAML, and it has the some Redis, some load balancer, and also BusyBox running Ubuntu. So let's try to deploy that in the same way. Yep, here we go. So here we just check the Docker Compose format, same URL. A reference will stay the same. And let's specify the file name explicitly. It would be Docker Compose YAML, no authentication. And let's enable automatic updates. And we gotta just pick the correct name and Dimko from Kompose. Yep, here we go. And now we would be able to deploy that, all of that Docker Compose file, big one, into the Kubernetes cluster. And in a matter of a few seconds, we'll see that all running and healthy. Manuel, this works only with Kubernetes. Nope. It actually works with Docker as well. And I think they might be working with other platforms. But I tried to get that on ACI, but was not able to. Perhaps Adolfo, you already tried that?
No, only with Docker and Kubernetes for now.
Yeah. So only Docker and Kube, and we'll go through Kube later in the session. So let's just get back to Kube. So all of the things from my Docker Compose manifest are here. Let's do the following. We see that stack Dimko from Compose, and there is a busybox Dimko. Let's also change that. And let's say we want to downgrade that Ubuntu image. Let's commit the changes here. So it went from 2004 to 1804. Same way, we are able to manipulate that stack and manipulate these applications. We are able to hit that redeploy button. So it should be pretty much okay. So it will trigger the fetch from the Git repo. And actually it already happened just a second ago. So it also already says 1804. So which is another nice feature, nice way of trying and playing with things, even on the production environment. And let's now try to deploy that to Docker. And let's hit that add container. I think Manuel, this is exactly what you were asking for. So it works with Docker. Dimko and Docker. And let's put that busybox image, latest, the famous one. And let's hit that deploy button. We have it just as a normal deployment. And now we can switch to the more advanced mode of that. More advanced mode of that is the Docker Swarm. And here we go. Righty. I'll follow up on that Docker thing later then, because now it doesn't think to work. Adolfo, do you recall what is the way of doing that in Docker?
With stacks.
With stacks, yeah, cool. Got it, really. Indeed. Exactly. So what we do here is go into the rootless Docker, which is our endpoint environment, add in the stack, and let's do the Dimko stacks thing. Here we'll pick the Git repo, and we'll pick the same Git repo as we did before. And that would be our Docker Compose thing. Would do the 1 minute fetch interval, so pretty much the same UI as everywhere in Portainer. And I think that would be it. Let's change that to lowercase and hit that deploy stack button. I think got a few images to fetch here. So what we have here is the Redis caching system, some load balancer from Google Samples, and Ubuntu. So still deploying in progress. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we can have a look at still the same UI that we have both here in Kubernetes. So there is very easy kind of a transition that you can do from Docker to Kube using the same tools. So once you are expert with Portainer and Docker space, next level you might take is being the Portainer oriented expert in that Kube space. So seems that's hanging for a bit. Let's try it again. Yep. Something wasn't else in the previous deployment. So, and pretty much it's happening now. So all of the images in our Docker Compose are running here. And this is probably the overcome of the last deployment that was not too successful. Let's update what we have in the Docker Compose and move that, I don't know, from 18 to 20. So now it's 20 on, now it's 18 on that Ubuntu instance. Let's commit these changes and wait for them to get replicated here. We might want to hit that pull and redeploy button, or we might just want to wait for it to appear because it would be done in a matter of 1 minute. Can we create template from, can we create template in Portainer and doing git push from UI? Not at the moment. And I don't think that we work on that actively anyhow. Doing the git pushes from Portainer, is that what you mean? So far, nope. So far, nope. Still, you have the app templates. So you can create the your own custom templates and share that within your organization as easy as just doing this. Same way you do this with deploying everything else. Put some description. Oops. And put the name for that. Oops. And I think should be good. So we've created the template, and everyone else in our organization is able to use that template, even though it's Git based. So we might want to edit that here, or we might want to create a new one, just fetching that from the Git. And yep, that's pretty much it on the deployment, either to Kube or to Docker. What we have here is that our Docker-based deployment from Docker Compose has changed from 11 to 20. And it should be okay. No, it is okay. I think I'll jump right into the presentation that I've prepared. And let's see what I got here. So it's me, you've seen that. What is kind of the problem that I see in the space, and why we actually built that exact feature into Portainer? So first is it's a real struggle to identify what is on production at the moment. And what actually happens if two people push at the same time? Sorry, I have, can you, Adolfo, can you help me on muting Dmitro Zhluktenko? I think that's me, actually, is my name, but I don't know who is appearing here.
That's actually you. Wait, hold on. I can help you here. Who would you like me to mute?
Me, but without a space. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So come back to the topic. It's a real struggle to identify what is the production state at the moment, or what should be deployed on production. If you have a really collaborative environment of people, and the pipeline which takes your code to prod is just triggered on a merge to a particular branch, which is a very typical use case. That also comes with the huge security risks, because people think that they can do that manually, they can do all of the deployments manually, especially in the Kubernetes. Trust me, it's not that easy. And the main problem here is that humans they tend to make mistakes, and that is okay. Also, we tend to use or create new security gaps simply by giving any of your peers admin access to the cluster. So everyone as an admin is a very bad idea. What actually happens if your cluster explodes? You have to run all of the pipelines from the scratch, and just running the pipeline in most of the cases means doing the rebuild. So that is kind of a problem, because most of the rebuilds, I've seen cases, it takes up to 5 hours, which is a disaster, 5 hours of downtime, if you ask me. So that is the very classical CI/CD pipe that I'm having in mind. So to get us on the same page, I'll just describe you what happens here is a very big, gigantic pipeline, which takes care of fetching the code, building, testing that code, and producing some artifact out of a successful build, and deploying that artifact straight away to the selected environment. And that might be, I don't know, QA, prod, pre-prod, etc. And then you go onto that environment and see what happens there. Click a few pages or run a few automation tests on top of that. It sounds simple, but indeed it's very complicated and suboptimal. Why is a nice question here. So what we would want our pipe to do is to do that building, testing, and releasing. And what that GitOps automation thing enables us to do is to have one pipeline doing these simple steps: build, test, release. And by release, I mean push the image to the container registry if we are talking Kube or Docker. And another bit is the exact deployment delivery. We are looking at that as something which will be out of that pipeline as an independent component. This is what we have in our GitOps idea. So it is exactly what changes. We just decouple these steps to similar pieces that you have in your production scenario. And the tool takes care of it all. Instead, you or your pipeline doing all of that deployment work. The whole idea, if to keep that real simple, yes, indeed. The whole idea is to keep that real simple, and your Git repo has all of the possible desired state stored right in that Git repo. So if you change anything in the Git repo, the changes are propagated to your Kubernetes cluster or to your Docker environment. So anything you change on Git gets propagated, and this is the exact effective way of collaborating, because that's whole idea of Git. So you have the collaboration with multiple people, and you might do pull requests, you might do the reviews, you might do the additional tagging, you might do the branching, you might do the rollbacks, signatures, etc. And most importantly, you have the history, and it's much more deterministic than the kubectl commands being run on the cluster. So in the end, it all boils down to tools doing the exact work, and especially routine work instead of people. And in the end, that approach is to be less error prone than that classic kind of a CDE pipeline. And in the cases of what is on prod now, you can easily figure that out just by looking at the Git repo, because what you have in the Git repo is the desired state of your cluster. And in 99% of the cases, that's it. That's just it. On that note, we also mitigate the risk of exposing the security gaps. So there is no such thing as all of the people who need to deploy needs to be admins. Instead, that integration, that deployment delivery process is done by the tool, and just the tool needs to have the permission to deploy and change the state of each deployment. So no need to have everyone as admin, just let the tool do that for you. And tools are less likely to provide security gaps, to be honest. As for the matter of recreating the cluster, it's also quite easy, because you just add the tool into the cluster and it does all of the deployment. No need to rerun all of the pipelines. Instead, just add the tool, configure that to listen to the corresponding Git repo, and that's it. And if you need to roll back, because that is just that's a killer feature. If you think about that, it enables you to easily run back to the previous state without impacting your customers for a long period of time. So no need to wait for long rebuild. Just change the version of the image, in the Git repo, and that's it. And that also mitigates the issue of throwing your containers over the fence to operation people. So I've seen that multiple times. If you see that on your teams or anything like that, then chances are that it's not too healthy. So what I'm telling is, if you have dedicated developer team who have no idea how the deployment work or how the operations work, then it's a very bad sign. And whole idea of these DevOps practices and GitOps is to enable developers make their job without having to interact with other departments, without having to throw containers over the fence. So being able to do that yourself, because this is the tool you're familiar with as a developer, you can do the Git thing easily because you do that every day. This is the key here for me. So no more that throwing over the fence. That is actually part of our philosophy, and actually why we decided to create that feature is we think that picking the right tools and building the right tools is our way of existing. So we believe that we can make the whole industry simple by making developers self-service that kube cluster or self-service that Docker environment. And these workflows such as GitOps are just available to you like now already in either 2.9 or 2.10 or in the 2.11, which will be rolled out shortly. I think the release date is like in a week or something like that, or in a week and a half. So feel free to grab these versions and have a look at that. And if you like, just drop us some feedback. The beginning was a bit harsh, but it always happens with the live demos. So I'll still be sending out all of the materials that we used today and all of the materials for you to learn more about that GitOps integration that we have, and generally about GitOps concept and all of the files that we used today. I'll follow that up. If you have any ideas or if you have any thoughts, just hit us up on the community channels that we have. It's either Twitter, Slack, Discord, Reddit, LinkedIn, GitHub, whatever. And I'd be happy to chat there. Or you have my email. I think that's it from my side. Guys, I'm really happy that you joined. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And let's just take it from there. Yep. Thank you, Nazar, and happy that you joined. Thank you, Manuel. Happy to see the interaction.
That was great, Dimko. Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Yeah,
helping me out on that.
Oh no, it's happened to me sometimes. Like it's like you set up the perfect environment, you test it 1,000 times, and then when you're doing the demo, something crashes. And you're like, this is why I always use our live portal as a backup, and usually it helps in that sense. But no, it was great. Thank you very much. And guys, thank you for joining. I think very relevant questions. And as Dimko mentioned, feel free to contact us, contact him directly if you need the questions. You can join our community channels. If you go to Portainer.io, you'll see there's a page specifically prepared just for you to join our community. There's several ways of doing it. And finally, if I may again and reinforce the 5 nodes free license, guys, go grab yours. It's there for free for you forever. Keep it, use it, crash it. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. I mean, it's better than coffee. Oh no, it's not better than coffee. Lying, but but it's really cool. So thank you very much. And Dimko, I have to drop off. I don't know if you're going to stay here for a little longer, but I have to really drop off.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to stay here since you started the meeting, but let's try.
Okay.
So thank you, sir, for joining, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I can add you as a host.
Yep. I'll be happy
Make
to stay
host.
here for a few seconds as well.
Okay.
I'm
jumping out.
now. Yeah, go on.
Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
See you later, sir. Bye.
See you.
Yep. Yeah, really, thanks, guys, for joining. And hopefully, I'll be happy to hear back from you. If you have any ideas, any questions, just let me know. I'd be really, really happy to engage. This one, from my personal feelings, it's quite of a challenge, but happy that you guys enjoyed it, and happy if that is able to help. So I'm here to help. On a more detailed presentation on the GitOps that I did back in the day, you might want to see that link. I just sent that in the chat. So that's the one that I did for the Linux Foundation on the DevOps and GitOps. And you might find it useful as well. It contains a few slides from our today presentation as well. That one goes a bit more in the detail on the GitOps as a concept, even though it's still very fresh as a concept, but there are already a lot of tools around that. So Portainer isn't the first one doing that kind of GitOps thing. It's been done also by Flux CD, by Argo. I think Jenkins X does that. I don't really have anything to share, but I can. Yep, must be nice. Let's open that link. So if you want, just check it out. And here I'm doing the Docker Swarm to Kube. I'm doing the intro on GitOps, and a few things on that DevOps topic, as we covered that briefly today on the integration with your developer team. I have the background and both doing the engineering work and at the same time doing the platform work. So setting up the platform for my teams so they can get up to speed, they can do easy Kubernetes development. That's actually why all of that DevOps culture matters to me. It enables that seamless collaboration between both teams, making sure that you don't run into any of the obstacles. So, and that GitOps thing is one of the key players, I'd say, in that space. Alrighty, guys, I think I'd be dropping off. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, Manuel. Perfect. Really love it. Yep. Have a nice end of the day. It's quite late at your place, so get a good sleep. And see you later.